my favorite additions that you came up with. I think it's nuts. And you really went for it, too.
That's always awkward. And you're like, hey, hi, nice to meet you. Can I grab your nuts?
You have Blake Lively speaking with her co-star about a scene in which she grabs his crotch, and guess who came up with it and improvised it? Well, it was Blake Lively herself. There is now just way too much evidence that she and Ryan are, strictly speaking, perverts. Now, this was discovered, and I would also say that Ryan and Blake have definitely effed around, and they are at that part where they are finding out.
Grab a stiff drink because this Hollywood train wreck is about to go off the rails in the most gloriously messy way possible. Ryan Reynolds, Mr. Sarcastic Charm himself, is reportedly losing his ever-loving mind after finding out that his beloved Blake Lively has been playing a little too friendly with her co-star Henry Golding. And let's just say, it wasn't just a casual high five or a pat on the back. Nope. Homegirl apparently went straight for the family jewels, and now Ryan is out here having a full-blown Hollywood-style meltdown. Honestly, at this point, these two should just release a reality show called Mutual Destruction, the Lively-Reynolds Chronicles. But before we get into today's juicy details of Blake's grabby hands and Ryan's PR nightmare, do me a favor, smash that like button like Blake smashed Ryan's dignity. It won't fix their marriage, but it'll definitely make your day a little better. Plus, it helps keep the gossip flowing, and who doesn't love a front row seat to celebrity chaos? So where do we even begin? Oh, right, the nut grab. Classic Blake, honestly. She has this incredible talent for making absolutely cringe-worthy decisions and then acting like they're just quirky, harmless fun. She even laughed about it on the A Simple Favor director's commentary, casually dropping in how she went full grip mode on Henry Golding like it was some kind of initiation ritual. And Henry? Poor dude looked like he was trying to astral project out of that situation. The way his face went into "please let me disappear" mode was enough to tell you everything.
This little clip is pretty outrageous. Henry Golding was fresh off the boat, basically in Hollywood. Blake Lively describes how she improvised a scene with him.
One of my favorite additions that you came up with. I think it's nuts. And you really went for it, too.
That's always awkward. And you're like, hey, hi, nice to meet you. Can I grab your nuts?
She says that she grabbed his nuts, basically, and also how she wanted to grab them harder. Considering what Blake Lively is accusing Baldoni of, this is just insane, if you ask me.
Now, let's be real for a second. If a male actor had done the same thing to a female co-star, Hollywood would be building a guillotine outside their house by now. But since it's Blake, oh, it's just playful banter. Double standards are alive and well in La La Land, folks. And speaking of things that aged worse than milk left in the sun, remember when Blake tried to go full woke queen and accused Justin Baldoni of inappropriate behavior? Yep, the same Blake who was out here literally groping co-stars on camera. It's like watching someone set their own house on fire and then call the fire department screaming, "Help! Someone burned my house down!" But here's the kicker. She invited Baldoni to her penthouse. Oh, and she let him hold her baby. Because, you know, nothing says, "This man is a predator," like, "Hey, can you cradle my infant while we discuss our deep emotional connection?" Oh, and while we're spilling all the tea, let's not forget that Blake's history of bad decisions stretches way beyond her messy personal life. We're talking full-on PR disasters.
Grabbing her co-star's genitals seems like a perfectly acceptable addition to a scene, or it did seem like a perfectly acceptable addition to a scene back in 2018.
Remember that time she tried to launch those $168 slavery-themed muffin kits? Yeah, you heard me. She honestly thought it was a brilliant idea to romanticize Black history with overpriced baked goods, because nothing screams, "I respect your history," quite like a pastel-colored blueberry muffin. Honestly, that was a level of tone deafness so intense it could have powered the entire state of California. But just when you thought she couldn't possibly make a bigger fool of herself, oh wait, she did. Do you guys remember the boob-shaped cake she made for her 1-year-old daughter? Yes, a cake in the shape of breasts, because apparently in Blake's world, the epitome of wholesome parenting is serving a toddler a fondant boob. Let that sink in for a second. Talk about mixing family-friendly with what on earth were you thinking? And if you thought this scandalous roller coaster couldn't possibly go any further off the rails, buckle up because it does. Blake's emotional affair with Baldoni? Yeah, that wasn't just a whoops, we got too close moment. insiders have been whispering about her and Baldoni's intense connection on set. Apparently, Blake and Baldoni were laughing so hard together they were practically crying. You know, the kind of laughter that leaves you gasping for air and saying things like, "Oh my God, we have so many inside jokes my husband would totally hate." Yeah, that's the vibe. Not exactly the kind of thing that screams, "I'm just here for the job, nothing personal." Now, let's talk about Ryan. Oh, Buddy didn't take this one lightly. Word on the street is that Ryan went absolutely nuclear when he found out about it. And when I say nuclear, I mean like ready to burn everything down, including their multi-million-dollar home and, of course, Blake's career. Which, honestly, with the kind of mess she's been stirring up lately, he wouldn't even have to break a sweat to destroy that reputation of hers. Blake's been skating on thin ice for a while now, and Ryan, well, he's so done with playing the supportive husband.
Ryan, because he was simply, according to him, just being a loving husband. While he was defending his wife, he was also simultaneously forcing his 7-year-old daughter, Inez, to make peace jokes in Deadpool.
Hey, when I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverine's out of your mouth.
That's kid. To her credit, she really didn't want to say, and then came back later and said, "I want to say it now." Guiltily, that is my daughter, Inez.
I'm so sorry we have to admit that.
And I am Father of the Year over here.
We made Nezzy do I'm not you 70 to 500 versions of that line.
Why would you need a child to repeatedly, from 70 to 500 times, say that graphic line if it's not just something that you're enjoying?
By the way, if you're still here, clearly you love watching the world burn just as much as we do. So do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button. I promise we won't beg like a desperate YouTuber trying to pay rent. But if you don't, just know that somewhere Ryan Reynolds is plotting revenge and you really don't want to be on his bad side. Now back to the chaos. This whole mess is basically Hollywood's version of a Greek tragedy. Except instead of gods and warriors, we have A-list actors with too much time and even bigger egos. Ryan, instead of just walking away like a normal person, has apparently decided that his best move is to go full scorched earth. He's allegedly pulling every legal and media string he can to make sure that Blake's reputation gets dragged through the mud. Because, you know, nothing says, "I'm handling this maturely," like publicly setting your marriage on fire. And let's not forget, this isn't even Blake's first rodeo when it comes to catching feelings for co-stars. Oh no, she's practically a professional at this point. First, it was with Penn Badgley on Gossip Girl. Remember the chemistry between those two? The whole will they won't they thing wasn't just TV magic, it was real, and we all knew it. Then she did it again with Ben Affleck on The Town. I mean, can we even talk about how intense that on-screen bond was? Sparks flying everywhere, people. Now, enter Baldoni. Yep, we're seeing that familiar pattern, and it's so obvious it practically smacks you in the face. Honestly, if Blake ever decided to retire from acting, she could probably start a business teaching other actors how to perfectly play the will they or won't they game. And of course, Blake being Blake, she manages to spin this whole situation into her favor every single time. It's genius. She's not cheating, darling. She's just emotionally connecting with her co-stars. We get it, Blake. Classic PR move. She knows exactly how to make her public image work for her. And Ryan? Oh, don't you worry about Ryan. He's not jealous, not even for a second. Nope, he's just protecting his brand. Now let's not forget, the whole devoted husband aesthetic is such a huge part of why people adore him. It's like the heart of his appeal. If that falls apart, well, so does his wholesome Deadpool family man image, and we all know how much he's built that up over the years. Ryan's carefully crafted perfect guy vibe would be in serious jeopardy if the public starts to think there's trouble at home. So he's keeping a close eye on that brand of his, doing whatever he can to preserve that squeaky clean image. It's a whole thing, you know? And just when you thought things couldn't get any messier, here comes Candace Owens to throw some more fuel on the fire. Like, did we really need Candace weighing in on this? Apparently, yes, we did, because she went in, taking shots at both Ryan and Blake like she was armed with a verbal wrecking ball. She didn't hold back either, calling Ryan a manipulative narcissist. And let's be real, when you look at how hard Ryan is working to control every narrative about his personal life, it's not the wildest accusation. He's all about managing that public perception. But at this point, these two are so deep in their own web of drama that even therapy might not be able to untangle it. They're like the soap opera couple we can't stop watching, no matter how chaotic it gets. So, what have we learned today? 1. Hollywood is just a giant, over-glamorized soap opera with better lighting. 2. Blake and Ryan are not the perfect couple they pretend to be. And 3. If you're ever invited to Blake Lively's penthouse, maybe decline, unless you enjoy being part of a future scandal. Now, before we wrap this up, let me hit you with one last favor. Share this video. Not because we're desperate for views, but because the world deserves to see this absolute masterpiece of a disaster unfold. Seriously, pass it on, like Blake passes emotional affairs to every new co-star. And with that, I'll see you in the next one, because let's be honest, Hollywood will never run out of drama.